Well, as you know, I think we've been living in this illusion that this is a trade dispute and you can negotiate your way out of it. We're going to be in a decades, 2, 3 decades competition. You earlier talked about Game of Thrones not going to China, but this could be a new global Game of Thrones that we're watching. I don't see the pullback in Huawei as that dramatic. I see as more dramatic the message that we've already sent to U.S. suppliers and then to China. I've been following a tweeter in China who is the editor of the Global Times, which really speaks for the Communist Party. And he said, U.S. cutting off Huawei supplies completely woke up Chinese society. China will face difficulty short term, but we will devote independent R&D and abandoning any illusion. This is a real turning point of the U.S. semiconductor companies gradually losing the Chinese market. Well, I think that's more right than wrong.
But emphasis on gradual, Fred. I mean, as we learned yesterday, U.S. companies are the semiconductor market. Even the components, the suppliers. I mean, it's going to take years for China to build out industry of its own if that's really where they're going.
Yeah, look, this is going to hurt Huawei a lot. It went up 20% in revenue last year. 1/6 of all of its components come from overseas. It's hugely dependent on Google and all the Google apps. So there's no doubt that this is going to hurt Huawei. And these waivers, we do a lot of waivers when there are sanctions. We did it with the oil sanctions on Iran. So the waivers are more of a stay of execution than the fact that the execution is not going to take place. We're in a long-term competition with China. Okay. Just one last thing. I was at lunch with some Koreans today. Their trading partner number 1 is China. Their trading partner number 2 is the U.S. 20% of their network, this is Samsung's country, 20% of their network and their systems is Huawei. You know, if we try to make them make a choice, this is not just going to be an issue between U.S. and China, but with a lot of our partners all over the world.
Fred, just before we go, can I ask you real quickly about Brexit? Because these headlines from a few hours ago that suggest Theresa May is going to offer to give a second referendum suggest that they're open to overturning Brexit. Now, maybe it's a gambit. It's her last gambit. Is it going to backfire?
Yeah. So, Kelly, I think you know my bias on this. I think Brexit has been one of the worst things possible for the UK economy. So I would welcome this direction. I think what we've seen is fascinating politics, and it could be brilliant politics. The last vote on whether to have a referendum on a Theresa May deal went against her 292 to 280, so only 12 votes with 66 abstentions. I think she thinks she can swing at least that many votes because now the waivers can either vote for her deal in order to vote for the referendum, or they vote against her deal and they could get Boris Johnson who goes for a hard Brexit. So I think this has a chance of taking us to a second referendum, which I think the UK voters deserve.